Yo guys, yo, welcome back to another episode. We are starting off straight away with the light heavyweight champ Yamada making title defense. I believe this is the first. It should be, yeah, of course. He beat Roberto. Now Roberto, he's kind of a confusing one for me because he's doing very good, and I actually like him a lot. But I have no recollection ever of using him on any of my past saves, like at all. But he's very good, and he's progressing very well. 6-0, of course. He's beaten some pretty good guys. Fujishima, he beat Mantis. Lakaze, very top wrestler, as well as Fast Smith. So it'll be an interesting fight. In terms of skill value, he's probably going to give Yamada the biggest test, but Yamada is still the huge favourite. So we'll see how it plays out. As we got Stafford Al too. Got big momentum going on his side. He's up against Tony McCall, who, of course, he lost the belt to Fezzik, and then he beat Ari Pelton on his sort of comeback fight. So that'll be a good battle between those two. Wasco's back in action, stays unbeaten. Good addition to lightweight. He's up against Francesco Marazina, his first real test of his career. Marazina, of course, he last fought when he lost, trying to beat Goshen, take the title off him. See how that one goes. We got Ito, who's 5-1. He's doing very good against fellow strike up, stand up guy Leon Banks. He's got a bit more of a scuff record than him. Then we got another fight for Palacios, he's good. He's a good addition, very well rounded. He's only going to get better. 223. Hopefully he stays unbeaten. Then Matthew, sponsored by Monster Bell. Hopefully he gets the win. We got Otto against Amida. Not really first two wins. Both guys have wins and losses. Abdul Eisenberg makes his debut. High level judo. Not the best, to be honest, but he'll probably beat Tyrone, who is 3-1, but he isn't great, let's be honest. Keegan Cliff, very good fighter. Don't forget though, very weak chin. He did win his debut. And now he's got Tucker Plum, who lost his debut. We'll see how that one goes. And then the big 10-inch Rushton, who of course also lost against Gurkha by split decision. He's back in action, hoping for his first GFC win. Alright, here we go. It's main event time. The Sniper Aldez against Yamada. It's crazy to think Yamada is only 22 years old as well. He is the huge favourite. But Aldez, he reminds me a little bit of Yamamoto with his Muay Thai style. And he's got quite a lot of attributes. You know, he's fearless, goes for the head kicks, which is always dangerous, and goes out fighting, which is actually going to be huge. If this fight goes to distance, the final round could sway. It probably won't. Yamada's, I've never really seen him being troubled. But we'll see. This could be an interesting one. If Yamada can't shut down Aldez. In terms of what we have available on the roster, there's not too many people who can verse Yamada right now who has the challenge that Aldez does. So someone's about to suffer their first loss of their career. So let's get the party started. Wow, okay. I was actually really excited that it went the whole 5 rounds to see how Aldez would do with his sort of going out fighting trait. Yeah, but he got pinched at the very start of the round and taken down, and Yamada ended up knocking him out. So we don't even go to a finish, which it would have been 5 rounds to Yamada was just one step ahead. He controlled the fight, really just suppressed Aldez to make a title defense as well. Wow, he really just dismantled Aldez, to be honest. But we take a nice pop into international, so we get 238k at the gate. The rest of the show went pretty good too. Tony McCall won. Marizina beat Wasco on Wasco's first real challenge in the promotion, so he gets his first loss, and Marizina bounces straight back with a great win after losing to Gorshin. Ito picks up a loss, and it's a very, very good win for Leon Banks. Blasio stays unbeaten. Paul Duffel, the big underdog, beat Matthew, sponsored by Monster Bell. Otto Cascudo also lost, being the favourite, to a split decision. Abdul Eisenberg won on his debut. Keegan Clift lost. It was the weak chin, as we spoke about, let him down to give Tucker Plum his first win. And Ray, the big 10-inch Rushton, lost again. So, yeah, it's not looking too good for him. I was hoping he'd come in and do a little bit of damage in the lightweight division, but it looks like it might not be that way, as we take a little bit of pop. As for fights, we didn't actually get any good ones. We're not actually giving anything, because that wasn't great. But we should take a nice chunk of money. Oof, that's the most. That's the most ads and subs, 500,000 alone. 720k, that's going to be a huge help for reaching 8 million by the end of the year. Okay, we're back in a show. This show, as well, actually, we have booked 9 fights in favour of one fighter, which it's been a while since we've had that many. Pretty much the main event we're not really concerned about. Both guys have fairly decent records in a lot of fights, but if Zacho does win, he will become pretty much next in line to fight Matthew Dean for the middleweight title. He's on a good run. He's technically not lost, but he's on a good run since he came back from his suspension. He beats Martin. The title shot's all his. Gage Rosignol, he's got a bit of a theme. He sort of wins, loses, win, loses. So in theory, this should be another win if all goes to plan. We'll give him a pretty easy fight in Giovanni Silva, who makes his debut, to try and keep boosting up Gage. Walter May against Dragos. Dragos is on a 3-fight win streak, whereas Walter May, of course, lost to Jim on his title shot and then won his last fight, so he'll be looking to keep the momentum going. We got the same thing for Chekhov, keep the momentum going. He's 2-0 against Batista, who of course on his debut he beat Lacazette. But we're hoping Gage wins, Walter wins, Chekhov. We're hoping George, who lost his debut, loses again to Yamashita, who's now 4-2. We are hoping Ezra Thorson, who lost his debut, we're hoping he picks up the win against Jasper Osmond, who sucks. Most of the guys suck. Then we got Leo Gragg making his debut. He's a high-level wrestler, and he's up against Snorri Gunnarsson, who's actually a featherweight but comes in at lightweight. Pretty good addition, high-level grappler, good conditioning, good chin. So hopefully he's a nice addition. Also from Iceland, which I don't think I know anyone from Iceland in the game. So that's cool. Then we got Lacazette, hopefully an easy fight. Same with Tropham, who's 3-1. What's Lacazette? 3-3? 2-3. And then hopefully Truck Gleason too, to get him on a winning streak. Well, this show is the smallest commercial actually we've had in a while. Especially the gate. The gate doesn't take as much. And we also didn't broadcast it by anyone because I'm a complete idiot. And I think it was the time of a turnover, and I had to extend the contract on Eurosports Cable, and I just totally forgot to book it in. So we won't take a lot of money. And Gage was on this card, which is annoying. But the card itself pretty much goes to plan. Zacho actually manages to come through where so many haven't. The likes of Bingwen Park, when he was pretty much one shot away. Elgar, when he was one shot away from the title. Mark Cohen, another one too. But Zacho gets the job done. Walter May also wins. Chekhov, Yamashita, Ezra Thorson, Gunnarsson, Tropham and Truck. The only one that was a letdown was Daniil on his debut. Kickboxer, he beat Lacazette, who's just, his record's it's not looking good for him. He's gone after this fight, most likely. even though his momentum's not really in the guard. It's wow, it's just not. It's a bit sad, honestly. So yeah, a bit annoying. The Pop's very much on track to hit low level national by the end of the year, and the money should be, even with this little hiccup that we've had. We'll give KO to Gunnarsson, even though it was a TKO. And we'll also give him Fight of the Night, since it was the only great rated fight on the card. But well, wait, a knockout knee? Nah, give it to Checo, why not? Don't see many of them. So yeah, only 100k, which is still a lot of money, I guess, but we could have probably taken about 400k from this, so it's a bit annoying, but it is what it is. This card is actually all 10 fights favoured towards one fighter, which is something that honestly I should be doing a bit more at this stage in the game, so we can boost up as many people as we can to not have scuffed records. But we have Jamison Cox, mid-level national. Of course, he came in as a mid-level national. He lost to Mac Fuller on his debut after we realised he's not very good. So I tried to book him smart, like really smart, so he could get a win. So he wouldn't lose his mid-level national name value on his second fight. But there's literally no one, guys. There's no one that he could beat like 100% of the time. Well, obviously there's not that's the case for every fighter in the world, but it was just too hard. So rather than risking it, I booked him up against someone that I know for a fact can use him as a stepping stone and really push in. So it's Bam Bang, who's 3-0. 10th, who wins this, he'll boost him right into the top 10. He's got momentum fully on his side. He's unbeaten. It'll be a good win for him. And then we got Joe Hinchcliffe, whose only loss comes to Walter May. But he's actually not that good. He is, but he's not really. But we're hoping he keeps his momentum going, keeps the wins coming against Geoff Cahill. We've kind of just used Geoff as a bit of a stepping stone for him. Who, yeah, he's old, he's deteriorating, he has beaten the likes of Matthew Bell, though, who's really not bad. So, but I'm hoping Joe gets the win. Then Uzelik's back in action after he won his debut. I'm hoping he gets the win against Fragoso. Brian Hindman makes his debut. But, having said that, we're hoping he loses to Tyler Crafton, who's also still unbeaten. Zacharias Gomez, who lost his last fight again. We need to get some momentum going for him. But we're hoping he also wins Fujishima against Jacob Matthews. Jacob makes his debut, but we're hoping Fujishima, who we know pretty well, gets the win to boost him up. And then we got Porter, 2-0, still unbeaten. A national caliber wrestler from Canada. We're hoping he gets the job done against Bud Kobian, who also makes his debut as an accomplished jiu-jitsu fighter. Plesu, we're hoping loses and then we can cut him. We actually risked this. We risked this fight big time because we should have cut Plesu already. But we gave him off to Walensky, who makes his debut. So if Walensky loses this, I'm going to be pissed. Then we got Nikolai as well from Russia, national caliber wrestler, makes his debut. Hoping he gets a win. And then Fontes, who's another good addition, just like Bam Bang, to the middleweight division. This guy's really good and he'll just get better and better. World caliber jiu-jitsu black belt, triangle master, rubber guard. He's really good. Really, really good. And I'm pretty sure he's got that sort of oh no, he's got the loner. I'm getting him mixed up with the guy who looks kind of similar to him. I think it's Santino. Murillo Santino or something his name is, and he comes into the game. And he's got that same, like, like, real dark, mysterious death sort of look to him. But we're hoping he also gets the win. I'm glad he's into the game now, and he comes in at 21. Although going forward, what I am going to do is the guys that I know could have really long careers with a lot of wins and like really like make a lot of history. If they come into the game world older than 21, I'm actually going to change their age down to like 20, 21 to give them an extra few years. I won't do it on any of the guys now, like any of the guys we like or any of the guys that's maybe just came into the game world. Like I know Tim Boyer comes in at like 24, 25. He would have been someone I would have done it to, but we won't do it to them now because it's a bit late. But these guys for sure, who debut from now on, I will, just to make it a bit, it's not really realistic at all, but if they're going to enter the game world with a record of 0-0, then I don't really see any harm in making them younger, so I can use them for longer. They're going to have like no name value to start anyway, so it's not like I'm cheating. Okay, well, we had a lot of guys on this card, but we were using the stepping stones, and most went to plan. To be honest, some fights were actually really close in terms of like the betting lines and stuff, but we managed most of the guys who we wanted to won. Bang Bang wins, of course. He beats Jamison Cox, who's probably going to lose to everyone, Jamison, which is a bit of a shame. But it is what it is. Then we got G off Cahill. He beat Joe Hinchcliffe, which I didn't want to happen. With G off being much older, we can't really push him. We were doing a good job at pushing Joe, but in a sense, we almost were in over our head by pushing him as far as we had already by his fight record. You know, he won 3 in a row, then he was almost about to go 3 in a row again, only losing to Walter May. Some of those guys he really should have lost to as well, considering he's more of like a stand-up guy with no... His defense is okay, but it's not great. Like if he versus another stand-up puncher, he's very, very likely to lose just as he is to win. And it wasn't to be this time. He's finally fell short. I was hoping to boost him up, maybe push a little bit more out of him before he fights someone who's way better than him in like the top 5 to help push them on, but he loses today, which it's a shame, but it is what it is. Then Uzalek, he beats Fragoso, which is good. So Fragoso now gets cut. Tyler Crafton lost to Byron. Part of me's annoyed because I really wanted Crafton to win, but I'm not, because Byron's also Scottish. You know, I'm a bit biased to the Scotsman, and he's also got very good boxing power, but that's pretty much it. He can punch you really hard, and he's very good at defending against your takedowns, but that's it. So, and Tyler has a very, very good chin, especially so early in his career. So it's kind of this is like a big blow for him. Not the fact he's lost, but he's been knocked out. So his chin's dropped by like 6% because I think it was at 89, or it was like 88.9. Yeah, so it's dropped about 4 or 5% if it was 88.9. 4, but I don't know if it was exactly, but it's not very good, is it? It's not very good for him. He gets his first loss. Gomez gets back on winning ways, thank God. Fujishima wins. Porter stays unbeaten. Walensky luckily beats Plateau, so Plateau gets cut too. Nikolai won his debut. Fantastic rated fight as well. I believe Porter also called out Gunnar Nelson. Yes, he did. And I also believe that Uzalek, after he won, called out Sean Morrison. So even though Sean's been gone for like over a year, he's still getting called out a lot. I really need to check his personality and his persona. But everyone seems to hate Sean Morrison. I don't know what it is. At first I thought it was because he was 3-0. Like before he left, he's one of the highest guys, so he obviously it makes sense. But now he's like not even in the top 10 because he's not fought in so long. But people are still calling him out. But it is what it is, I guess. Fontes, he gets the win too. Pretty decent. We've not had a fantastic rated fight in a while. We take decent critical, 60%, so it's high enough. Mid-level national. So we take the 0.6%. I believe we're at about 96% popularity, so we're definitely on course to make our mark. Hopefully we take a nice chunk of money, considering I forgot to put a broadcaster on the last show. We'll give Zachary's submission of the night. I feel like Byron has to take the KO. Although Nikolai did get a knockout punch too, but we'll give him fight of the night. Although, yeah, let's spread it out. Well, I mean, I was going to say I try really hard not to give more than one to the same person, unless to get like a fantastic or excellent rated fight. But Byron was the big underdog against Crafton, and it was Crafton's first loss, so yeah, let's leave it. So yeah, 353, quite low in terms of Euro Sports Cable. Like usually we take a bit more, but I guess it was all down to our name value and the fact Gomez took 21k and Uzalek takes 18, and then Cox takes 10, even though he lost. But good, it's a good chunk of money. But I don't know if we'll reach 8 million by the end of the year. We're not really on course. Especially, I think it's to do with taxes in the game or something, that when you advance to a new month, you lose a chunk of money that you made that month. Which we're obviously feeling the effects of way more just now, because we're like trying to reach a goal and we don't make that. We make maybe like 800k a month, and then when we advance to the start of a new month, like 200, 300k of it gets cut out. Okay, I actually totally forgot we have 4 shows this episode, so this will be the 4th, because the next show, or the next episode, is a back-to-back title fight. So we're going to try and run through this one really quick, but we have a lot of guys we like, and a lot of guys that are pretty popular on this card. Boring Boniek's up against Jeff. Jeff, of course, he's on a 2-fight win streak. Yes, since he lost to McCall in his title shot. And Boring Boniek, he's won his last 3 fights, keeping in mind the only people he's lost to is Fezzik and Foster, who are definitely the best 2 heavyweights in the world, never mind their promotion. And he's beat everyone else with ease pretty much, so this will be a very good fight for both of these guys to make a statement. It'll be a solid win on their resume. Then we got Gorshin finally back in action after he lost his belt against Bolin. He's got David Carlos Ramos to go through, who is actually, he's 5-0, but he's just inside the top 10. Similar situation to Mac Fuller, who had a crazy good record, but he wasn't really beating people with conviction, and it wasn't pushing out the rankings as fast. So if Gorshin beats Davey, it'd be a huge win for him too, to be honest, beating a guy in the top 10 undefeated in the lightweight division. Good comeback fight. Then we got Seto, of course. He's also in lightweight, world caliber wrestler, looking pretty decent, very good name value in Japan. Hopefully he beats Ed Milson. We got Sekizawa back in action. He lost to Malforobi on his last fight, but he was on a nice little streak there. And he's got Rob Baines to go through, who lost his last fight to Wiley, which was a huge shock, because he was pretty much one more fight away from looking like he could be in the title scene again. And he lost. Oh, I just clicked the link there. He lost, which was crazy. A huge win for Wiley though. Then we got Asinovic. It's pretty much an easy win for him to stay unbeaten. Hoping Loretto Callens gets the job done. But I like Sakta as well. He's quite an exciting fighter, even though his record isn't quite as exciting as his fighting. Then we got Ricardo, who's on the spiral right now since his title fight. One of the guys that's got us the curse, as I like to say, when they either fight for the belt or defend their belt and lose it. So many of them go in a bit of a downward spiral. But he's got a much easier fight than his last 2. Then we got Andrew Rush against Wiley, who of course 4-0, beat Rob Baines. I'm sure he's beaten, he beat Sakta too, Otto Cascudo and Sekizawa. 4 guys that all have quite a few wins, to be honest, so he's looking really good, sitting 9th. Hopefully he beats Andrew Rush, who's actually 2-0, also a stand-up striker, so anything can happen when those guys meet. Then we got a Russian who's 1-0, up against Dan Halverson, high-level sambo. Hopefully he wins, just purely based on age. And then Balagot, who we haven't saw in over a year, actually. Balagot fought his debut in July of 1990, but then he twisted his rotator cuff or something. It was like one of those huge injuries, and he was out for a year. So this is his comeback fight against Richard Smith, who's 3-4. Oh, since we're at the main event, I'm actually going to bring you guys back early, because Boring Boniek beat Jeff Carlton. But when I saw it was split decision, I started looking at the fight matrix, and looking at this, I don't know if it should have went all that way, unless it was just one of the rounds Jeff dominated. But he's slightly edged him on the stand-up game, and he's definitely got the better of him on the takedowns in the ground. Well, there wasn't really any strikes though. Well, a few ground passes for Boniek on his side, but oof, that's a big win for Boniek in a very, very close fight. Like I said, whoever won that fight would be very good for their resume. He's also called out Akihida. We had a few other call-outs that we'll run over really quick, because some of them are really good. Walia, he called out Bam Bang. No. Oh my god, who was that? I forgot. It should be one of them that smiled, but he didn't receive. He called out. I think it must have been Malforobi. Regardless, though, that's 2 very good call-outs that he's got. And then we also had, I believe it was Loretto. Yes, Loretto Callens called out GG Reed, which is quite nice too. And of course now Akihida, who I believe is still unbeaten. He fought in the Tokyo show against, I believe it was Bingwen Park, maybe not. Shit. Oh my, I can't remember if he lost, but anyway, I need to wrap this up. We hit 70%, high level national, 2.3k in attendance. The show went pretty much to plan. Gorshin got his 8th win of his career in our promotion. Seto stays unbeaten. Rob Baines got back on winning ways after he lost to Walia. He managed to beat Sekizawa, who's a stand-up striker too. He didn't receive the same fate twice. Asinovic stays unbeaten. Callens beat Sakta. Ricardo Fernandez finally gets back on a win. Walia stays unbeaten. He beat Andrew Rush by unanimous decision though. Our new Russian fella, he lost That's his first loss of his career. Dan beat him, and Balago gets a submission finish on his return. 0.7. We'll give, you know what Bala got for his return, and it was a great rating. We'll give him submission. We'll give Rob Baines. We'll give Rob Baines KO, and we'll give fight of the night to. You know what? Give it to Rob Baines too. Are we going to give it to Balago? Nah. Let's give it to Rob. Him being sick as I was a much closer matchup, even though it's not that close. It's much closer than Balago against Richard Smith. So we take just under 500k, which is nice. Closer to the mark we need coming up on the end of the year. But next episode, we got the double header, 2 title fights, which will be nice. And then the next show after that will be, I believe, the last show of the year. And hopefully everything comes together as we planned from the start. We get $8 million that we can use on an enormous advertising company for the UK that we'll use for our minor shows, and we'll hit low level national so we can start doing our minor shows straight away. And the minor shows will pretty much have a good main event and co-main, and then the rest of the card, which will be 10 fights, no prelims. The rest of the card will be guys who have scuff records that we want to get rid of, or guys that we're trying to build up their records so we can pass the torch on from them, or just guys who maybe are really good but don't have name value will be on those cards too. And then the main cards, or GFC cards, will turn into 5 or 6 main show fights and then some prelims